Hey, welcome to EPS Talk. I'm Robert, and this is
Freddie. Hey guys.
welcome aboard. Just wait for everybody to get.
I was surprised you started that off because usually I've
I know.
been on this trend, but it's all right. We'll let it go.
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna veto you on this one.
Yes, boss.
Hope you guys are all doing well. Everybody's having a good weekend. Freddie, how you feeling today?
I feeling a lot better than last weekend.
Good to hear.
Yeah.
You were dealing with your horrible toothache last weekend.
It's horrible.
Everybody can attest. Tooth pains can be absolutely one of the worst that you could deal with. So glad to have you on. We got Amber on. What's that?
Hey Amber. This is good to be on, sir.
Okay.
Good to be on.
Tiffany, thanks for jumping on. Today we are going to be talking about abilities. I want to go back, revisit this particular topic. It's a very expansive topic, and it's something worth going back over. So we're going to let everybody else get the message. Hopefully, people are getting pinged with the messages that we're live now. It's got to be Sandy. Is that you, Sandy? Just let me know if that's you as well. Who's playing as EPS today? What I just need to know. I'm pretty sure that's not Craig saying hi, loves.
We're just gonna go with Sandy.
That's what I'm hoping for, because if it's Craig, I don't know. He's really gonna blow my mind this morning, so it's all good. Hope you guys are having a good weekend. Weather was pretty good, except it got a little bit chillier our way. A little bit cold out there.
A little bit.
Woo!
I had to bring up the long sleeve shirt again.
Well, we had the fireplace going last night. We went outside on the deck and turned around, put the fire out. Put a little fireplace out there, and it was running pretty well. So, I know I watched Amber and Grounded Paranormal just had a live stream that they did just recently. Dixieland was streaming. You went last Tuesday.
Yeah, that was
until you're
right until I started getting some
toothache
pain, so I had to give up early. So, yeah.
But at least you made an attempt at it. So, is this as far as comment wise? Is you got to go down, or you're good with where we're at?
Oh no, I'm behind here.
Okay, so. Good. Sandy, oh man, that's what I miss. I really do miss the coffee. Andy, thanks for being on. Jeff, thank you so much for being on.
Shay's elite.
Shay is?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Shay. I appreciate it. I didn't even realize she was going to be on this morning. That's great. Awesome. Sandy Johnson, sunshine here. Must be nice. We've had some pretty good sunshine, and now again, for some reason, it just dipped down, which, hey, I'm not complaining. As long as we don't have that white stuff, it's all good. So, Sandy is with us. Awesome. All right, so we're going to have some more people will be joining us, and some of those, some of the people that watch definitely have abilities. There's no question about it. And when we're talking abilities, the biggest question a lot of people have, and I know a lot of people will review this afterwards, the number one question is, are abilities real? Can people really get communication from the other side? I know you're sharing, but your simple answer to that?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes is honestly. I'm not saying that everybody out there that pretends to have abilities really truly have, or as gifted as they think they are or want to be. It doesn't mean that they can't be eventually. But there's also some extremely gifted people out there that they kind of sit in the shadows. They don't want to put it out there because they know it's having abilities or having gifts. And we're talking people that can see, sense, or feel something. Colette, thanks for being on. Jerry, make sure I need to talk to you this week about possibly next weekend, see what you're up to. So while you just popped up, I just want to make sure I throw that out there to you, see what your plans are for next weekend. Talking about abilities, and we'll talk about people that can see, sense, feel, or know things that they really just outright shouldn't be able to do. Knowing something at a different location remotely might just be you might just have it, or that person might just be able to feel it when they get to a location. I always talk about Janie because obviously she's like a sister to me, and she's extremely gifted, and yet at the same time she's very down to earth, and that's what I appreciate more than anything is people that just remain as themselves. I didn't recognize you. I'm sorry, I'm just reading Sandy's comment. Not Sandy, Shay's comment, because she just put it out there. I didn't recognize you because how often do you jump on right at the beginning of our show right now? You've been kind of dissing me a lot there, Shay. I like people that are grounded. I don't care. I don't care how popular you are. I don't care if you're on TV. I really don't. I don't track people or watch people that are on TV because I don't care. It doesn't mean anything to me. I like people I can communicate with, I can talk to straight up. And Janie is one of those people. She's going to give it like what she gets is what she gives. And she'll be the first when it comes to abilities. She's the first one to tell you, hey, look, I'm always still learning. I've been doing, she's been doing this for crazy amounts of years, but she's not afraid to say, I don't know anything about that. It's like stones. She just knows if it feels right to her, that's what she'll go ahead and if she's drawn to it. If she's not, she doesn't worry about it. She can't tell you what all the different color stones do, which ones are for negative, which ones are to go ahead and increase your ability. She has a quartz ball that she typically keeps. She's been given several. I mean, Bonnie's constantly sending her all different types of stones. She keeps her quartz ball, and that's the one that, when she wants to go ahead and focus on something more, you'll watch her and she'll have it in her hand, she'll be moving it, and that's her focus where she's at. And so I appreciate and I respect more people who don't, if you don't know what you're talking about in a particular field, doesn't mean you don't understand the field or that you're not extremely good at it. Just stick to your lane of what you do understand. A few years ago, Janie would have been the first one to tell you, as far as she was concerned, her interaction when she could read somebody was if that person was in front of her. She never even thought about trying to do it remotely. We went ahead and kept trying, something different, and it fired right off. She was great the very first time. I say she was great. It went very, very well. She doesn't sit there and get a big head on her shoulders. She did. I knock it off. Try to.
Cool. Shout out to Jeannie. Did you get Jeannie? Jeannie's on.
I did not say hey to Jeannie. Yeah, I was too busy talking about her.
Tim, you got Tim, right?
Tim, I did not get.
Yeah,
Steven, thanks for being on.
Steven.
So again, we are talking about abilities, and we want to talk about abilities. It's a very large topic, and I really want to make sure we put it out there. A lot of people want to be gifted, by all means. They're just like, oh, I want to be able to do what you can do. Well, if you truly experience what those that are extremely strongly gifted, those that are able to really communicate and see things on the other side, they'll tell you first, slow down. You probably really don't want to deal with what I deal with, because most of them have to deal with constant bombardment, of voices, of actually seeing people. I mean, everybody gets it in a different way. Your psychic, that's my little girl upstairs, my granddaughter running back and forth. So I apologize. Got Scott on? Yeah, awesome.
Scott. Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne, thanks for being on. So those that have actually experienced it, especially at a young age, if you got it when you're really young, like Janie, I mean, she woke up and there's strangers in her bedroom. That could be terrorizing. I mean, think about it. When you don't know who, you don't recognize these people, you've never seen them in your life, and they look like regular people standing there, that's kind of, how is that not going to be frightening? I can't imagine. I just wouldn't want to wake up and have a bunch of strangers sitting in my room or anything. But people get it in a multitude of ways. Some people don't even see, that are very, very talented. They don't see they don't see in the sense of they see what the person looks like. They know what the person looks like, but they can't. It's not like they're visually seeing them. And that alone is the hardest part, because people that are gifted will often be, if they're in a group, 3, 4, 5 people, whatever, and they're at a location, they'll say, oh, did you hear that? And everybody else is kind of looking at them like, no. Or did you see that? And everybody else is like, no. That's more than likely their gifts, because they still think that they're seeing it and they're hearing it, but they're seeing it and hearing it here. Not here and not here. So it's, even now, I mean, I give the perfect experience that I had with Janie when we turned around and we were at a location. A little girl had drowned in a stream, and she's screaming at me, are you serious? You cannot hear that little girl screaming, Rob? I mean, she's right there screaming. And I'm going, Janie, no, I can't. But to her, it was as real as can be. We took her up to the battlefield, and she could actually see the battle as it was happening, and let's just say the gore from it as well, and it was extremely overwhelming for her. Which I mean, when you're watching it in real time.
Well, that's another thing to add too, like Janie and a lot of other people that have abilities stuff. Is that something that they develop from a young age, or can they get it as time goes on?
There's a couple of different things that set us off. I'm in the belief that most people are actually born, some people are born much more open than others. Doesn't mean that you can't become more, but most of us are inadvertently brainwashed. That's your imagination. That's not real. Ghosts aren't real. Spirits aren't real. So as a child, you start learning, oh, this isn't supposed to be real. I'm not supposed to believe in this. So that's the brainwashing I'm talking about. It's not on purpose. It's not like people do it to try to make sure that their kids can't.
It's just a way of yeah.
As we grew up, that was the way it happened. And then others don't ever talk about that again. Their family members, their mother, their father would say, if you ever talk about that again, I will knock it out of your teeth. You will never say that again.
Because you had the real religious ones that really believed that. And you also had like the asylums and stuff like that. You said that's where you be sent up to.
20 years ago, you would definitely be in a padded room if you said you could talk to people.
Not to throw you under the bus.
Hope so.
Do you have abilities?
I do not believe that I have. My abilities are not the same as the type of abilities we're talking about. I definitely believe I can defend. I definitely believe I can attack on their side, which is, it's still mental. Everybody thinks of what we do because we have the holy water and we have the salt, right. But it's here is the bigger, and that's the same thing for psychic means mental. So when you hear the psychic, we have different levels of it, and there's God knows how many different names out there for it. But it is up here. There is a whole difference that are up here. So I think a lot of us are blocked in our youth, whether inadvertently. Of course, you get to a point when you get to middle school, you're not going to run around and talk about, hey, I see ghosts, and because your friends are going to laugh at you if that's the case. So peer pressure will help push it away from you as well. Any older age, as far as, and I would say older, you could be in your 20s, you could be in your 40s, you could be in your 50s and 60s, doesn't matter. If you have a near-death experience, a very serious operation of some sort that is life-threatening, people tend to open up at that point, and they don't understand what it is. I'm sorry, I was just reading Janie, reading a few. Thank you, Tim. Appreciate it very much. When it first hits you, and this is reason why a lot of marriages and a lot of relationships don't work out, and people don't realize it. I'm telling you, there's a ramp up of energy. There's a ramp up of people that are having gifts. And when I say gifts, it doesn't mean that you're gifted to a point that you're really a medium or a psychic or anything like that. I'm saying you have abilities. Okay, let's just leave it at that for right now. We'll get to it a little bit more. But people, the very first one is the empath phase. The empath, and when you're empathic, you can feel emotions. But most empaths, when they first become an empath, they don't know they're an empath. They have no idea. They just think that they're suffering from anxiety. And before we go any farther, look, I am not a doctor. I am not telling you to change your meds, anything like that. I'm not a shrink. So I'm telling you from the paranormal side what we deal with and what we know to be true. That's a real dog. That's my dog upstairs, or my wife's dog, Kitty. Just a small Rottie that happens to be named Kitty. So the empathic stage is really one of the hardest stages because people don't know, why? I mean, all of a sudden they can just be poured over with emotions. You've been there.
Been there at one time. Yeah.
We've known others that have been there and got stuck there for a while and would just be a train wreck. I mean, all of a sudden you get a big guy and he's just nothing but tears where he's connected to this child there. And it's not that he's sad about the child's story. He doesn't realize that he's in the child's shoes at that point, feeling his emotions. But it can come over in a heartbeat. And for couples, when you're in a relationship with somebody who one's empathic and one's not, and, the smallest little issues, you're talking about something about it doesn't matter what it is, something really, really small. But you always seem to get it into a bigger, larger fight, and you're like, why? Why does this always happen? Because the person who's the empath, unfortunately, will turn around and they are absorbing. They're feeling the frustration from the person next to them. They don't realize it, and it's in their and it's in their mind getting much larger. So it's like 3 times worse for them. All of a sudden, now they're more angry. Now they're more angry, and it's like for no reason, and that's because they're empathic.
Yeah. Can I stop for a
couple
comments? Well, Tiffany, but when I've seen people at our old house when I was around 6 or 8 that no one else saw. I was told it was just my imagination since my accident when I was 16, it's gotten stronger, and I'm able to do more things. Brings another thing too when it comes to imaginary friends.
Oh yes.
Okay. And I remember I was like big on this for a while too,
Yep.
because I actually believe they're actually seeing somebody. They're actually interacting with somebody because they're more open.
Yes.
As kids, especially when they sit there and they can draw you a picture and details and stuff, and then you go back and research
What do most kids draw in when they could first start drawing and whatnot? When they're drawing people, what do people look like? The little stick figures?
Little stick figures.
Okay. But then when, as you're saying, the details, all of a sudden, they're drawing the blonde looking hair. It's parted to a side, or they got glasses, or they got particular lipstick, or they have an earring.
Or they have a little like a fireball.
Yeah.
Like the one I think you had.
Yes.
So I mean, yeah, they really do, and I mean, you really need to like listen to them, because I believe they're really seeing something. I know one guy at the haunted house that I work with, his son, the actor wore a clown mask, and it was a really expensive clown mask, and it was put like a little head mold, and it was put in the closet on a table, like the door was shut and everything, and it would be out the next day, like in the kid's bedroom. This mask would be, and he'd be like, "Oh, hey, this is so and so. This is my friend." I mean, that just don't happen. So,
Right.
But yeah, So then, like Tiffany said, with her accident she had, it's gotten more stronger and do more things. So
That's just my granddaughter. I apologize. She's got way too much energy.
don't mind any of the background noise.
I apologize for that. But a lot of people do get blocked, and there's other reasons people get blocked by family members or whatnot. They are scared. There's a lot of people. It's no different. I've seen some posts as far as what do you do when people don't believe or when they want to argue with you about your evidence and whatnot. Some people will always remain a skeptic because if it's real, it's going to scare the dog crap out of them. They do not want to believe that Casper could be real. That really freaks them out.
My coworker, I brought it to your attention
Yes.
a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
With her dreams, she had like 4 dreams back to back.
Yep.
And I discussed with you because, I said, are you sure that she was awake? She said she was, but I said, were you sure you're awake, or you just thought you were awake?
Right.
She goes, no, I was awake. But she had 3 continuous dreams, nightmares, night terrors, the same thing. 4th one was way off the wall, something totally different. And yeah, so she was just wondering, she thought, well, I'm just going crazy. And that's.
Well, why number one, does communication happen while you're asleep? That's what we're getting to. You don't have to just be awake.
Don't mean jump
what
off
happens?
subject.
No, it's still on subject. You're still fine. But can communication happen when you're asleep? And then what's the answer to that?
Yes.
Your mind is, if something on the other side, say you're right at the bridge of opening up. You're starting to open up. You're putting off a signal like your energy. They can tell that you're affected by them. They know you can sense or feel them. If they can't get through your wall, they're doing everything they can around you, and somebody on the other side, and they can't get you to pay attention to them. It's wasting their time. But then they go to somebody else, and all of a sudden that person is definitely being affected. That's who they're going to go ahead and try to get the message to or anything, because they know that person can be there. That person might be their mind might race too much during the daytime. All the different feeds that are coming in between the lights, the sounds, the noise, the smells, whatever, it might be overwhelming. But when they go to sleep, their mind calms down, and it might be the time when, again, their energy. You got to remember, we're talking energy. What are your brain waves? Your brain waves are energy. So when you go to sleep, it's an absolute possibility that they can connect to you much easier when you're asleep. So all those repetitious dreams with the same person that you might not even know, or after somebody who has been significant in your life has passed away, and all of a sudden you have that real crisp dream, it's probably communication, probably not a dream.
Tiffany, I'll add on Tiffany real quick.
Yep.
Since she was young, she was diagnosed with anxiety and depression. Numerous meds didn't work. Many issues with them have been taken off, all of them, and feels like abilities have grown more.
Medications do affect.
Yes, and being from the medical side, I will, tap on this a little bit.
Yeah.
Medications can alter a lot of things.
Absolutely.
Could. So, that's when we go to places and we look around and try to be observant and stuff like that. If they're on some really high pain meds and stuff like that, you got to be really careful, because that will alter.
Yeah, I mean, again,
some things. So.
we know our minds can play tricks on us. So that's what I'm saying. That's the separation between those with abilities. When you start keeping a log, if you think you have abilities, when you start keeping a log and you go back and you start confirming things that you're writing down, you're watching a live. Let's just say Philip, his team is doing a live. Hey Philip, let's say he's doing a live and you're watching it and you start picking up something and you just jot down that note and then they confirm it. They, hey, we caught an EVP. You were picking up a little boy. They say, hey, we caught a little EVP of a little boy, and you write confirmed across it. Now you're basically stamping it and saying, hey, look, I already saw this ahead of time. It's kind of like Janie. Even now, she's going to go ahead and text me what she's getting. She can call me and tell me, but that doesn't help to give us some documentation. But yet, if she texts it to me, we have a timestamp, and that's what really works well. And that's what we found works really, really well. So now, when we get to a location and it comes out that she was dead on something, that's her confirmation. That's my confirmation as a paranormal investigator. I can go, okay, I, I, I love her to death. I can't just take whatever her words are, regardless of how many times she hits on it. As a paranormal investigator, I still got to have concrete, something that's going to be more rock solid before I give it to the client. I can't just sit there and go, well, right. My medium said, so you got to believe. Look, my medium has had this. She sent this to me a week ago. Listen to this voice I just picked up, and it's a little boy, and she's saying there's a little boy. Isn't this awful ironic? She's saying it sounds like he's probably around 6 years old. What does that sound like to you?
A 6-year-old, yeah.
You know, when you start getting things that really confirm one another, that's how it really, really, really helps you out.
Now, I don't know how a lot of them feel. I know Janie, Sean don't have the abilities. Janie does, correct?
Correct. Doesn't mean Sean doesn't experience things.
Right. Chris T's on.
Okay.
Chris T, I know she said every day in our house we all just feel each other's moods as if they were our own just walking in a room because Cassidy, her daughter.
Well, all right. So why is that? Why is it, okay, Cassidy, you've got Chris and then the mother, the daughter. That's the most prolific of the gifts. It seems like the more and more, now that it's open, it's not so taboo, and people aren't so quick to try to outright brainwash, outright say it's just your imagination. Now, without having that filter put in place, and people are starting to come up, they're starting with this. The mom already has it. Her mom probably already had it, and her grandmother probably already had it. The problem is, a lot of the grandmothers knew that if they spoke about it, they could be locked away. Quite honestly. Moms, it's not nearly as bad as it was, although 20 years ago, if you said you heard voices again, they would put you in a nice little white room and do observations and whatnot. So the mother to daughter is the most likely. It doesn't mean that it can't go to a son, but the mother to daughter bond, it definitely translates, it definitely comes through the daughters a lot more often than it does the sons, as far as the abilities.
Yeah, shout out to Sin City.
Sin City, love it.
Jeannie says that there's a possible investigation coming up soon involving a child.
I don't have one in particular on right now. And if you guys watch a lot of these feeds, I've had Philip do the same thing. I've had a number of people. Shay has done it. Obviously, Janie's done it, where all of a sudden she'll be like, hey, I don't know where we're going. Remember, Janie is our medium, and she's our team medium, so she's the last one to get any information for where we're going, because I don't give it to her. I want her to be in the dark. I want my team mainly to be in the dark when we're going to go to somewhere. Philip, I love his comment. Our bodies are EMF detectors. And your body, all of us are wired to know. There's a difference. Janie, when she first experienced these people in her room, it was very concerning to her, and it was very uncomfortable to her, but it wasn't a fright, hey, I've got to get the hell out of here feeling. It wasn't, gotta go, out, doesn't matter, nothing can stop me. And that's very, very important, because your bodies are wired. If you listen and feel and learn your own body, which is, it's probably the hardest part for most people to do, is actually learn themselves, and that's huge. If you want to go through it, that's part of what meditation does for you. It's part of taking the time to slow down. But it's, if you can tell when you're around something very negative. If I take Janie somewhere and she starts getting very sick, I know what that means. For some people, it's all vibration. If it's a lower vibration, it's a child. If it's a higher vibration, it's an adult. If it's on the right side, it could be a family member. If it's on the left side, it's not. People get it different ways. Sandy, it's very likely. I mean, people, again, you usually get it from the female side. It doesn't have to just be from the female side. And then, so if you have parents that are both and then you get it, you're probably really going to explode pretty well. Philip now is picking up a little blonde boy with suspenders. Can you go up just a little bit? I know a few people were talking about EMFs. I'm just trying to catch up on a couple of the comments real quick, which are awesome. Scott's very, he picks up on it as well. Well, let's go a little bit farther. Do you feel like you have gifts?
I don't know, to be honest with you.
Okay.
So
I want to
know I had the one experience down in Virginia.
Right.
I had that issue where I had to get out of that room at one time.
Right.
But that's the only, I mean, knock on wood, that I
honestly believe we all, again, have it.
Right.
It's just how many people are open and prolific about it, right. Whereas the rest of us, look, 99% of the people you'll ever talk to, I really don't care what they say. 99% of all people that you talk to have experienced something paranormal. They've known something they shouldn't have known. They've seen something that they can't explain. They've heard something they can't explain, but they try to explain it away. But it hasn't happened so many times as we're talking with those that are gifted. Those that are with abilities, can you go into a block? Absolutely. But in general, can you turn around and Tiffany, you're welcome to mention anything. Anything we talk about, you are absolutely welcome to mention by far. I just saw that comment up real quick.
Yep.
But those that are gifted in general are constantly getting information, and when you first start, you have no idea where the information is really coming from. You just know you're getting stuff that doesn't make any sense to you, but you're hitting on things that you know. Whereas when you become asensitive, it means that you're still getting all this coming in and it's more consistent, you're aware of it. Then you start to learn as you become once you really fully understand where the information is coming from, that's when you start developing. And mine, and again, we have differing opinions depending on who is even here right now talking. You know, I believe you go from sensitive to mediumship to being psychic. But you can still, even though you're sensitive and you're very gifted and you're getting this information, if you have no clue where it's coming from, you don't know how to trust it, then you're still in the sensitive stage. Once you get a point and you have an idea where it's coming from, you know, and even Janie, I'm going to use her because it's somebody I'm around and she does not mind me talking about her. You know, I'm using that as an example because you guys, everybody that follows us can understand it. She still wants to know, like when she does a read, if she's going to do a read over the phone and she's going to tell you, hey, please just tell me your first name. I don't want to have any other information. What I would like to have is just give me a confirmation if you know what I'm talking about. So if she says, I'm going to use something very generic, okay, you've lost, there's a woman on the other side that has gone to the other side who has passed away. And she's passed away within the last 5 years. Now, she's giving you some details. So if you're getting those specific details, not somebody that's passed away, but you get to a point where it's a woman and it's been within the last 5 years. You know, 4 years ago that happened. Your confirmation is, I know what you're talking about. That is a confirmation for her, so she feels even stronger about, okay, this is definitely the information I'm getting for you, and she'll work even, go at it. But don't just, I feel you've lost somebody on the other side, because if you do that with anybody who has abilities or pretends to have abilities, I mean, hell, if you're over 30, they already know if they throw that out there, you're more than likely know there's somebody on the other side. Somebody has passed in your life. Let's be real.
Right. Tim has, so for those that are gifted, is it more of a gift or a curse?
Again, Tim, that's exactly what we were talking about. When you first start out, those that are truly gifted will actually call it a curse in the beginning. Many of them have thought it was a curse. Many people have looked at drugs, alcohol, thought about suicide, or thought about committing themselves.
Shout out to, I'm going to take a guess at this name, Grethi from Sweden. So thanks for joining.
Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. We're talking about abilities for people with abilities, and you don't have to be any star on TV. Look, man, there's people on TV that are that are full of BS. They don't have abilities. They're just really good circus acts. And there's others that are tremendous, that are extremely fantastic. Same thing with people. I know some people in particular that are actually on here right now that I can tell you are better than anybody I've ever been around, anybody I've ever watched on TV. You don't know on TV how many people are plants. Let's be real. This is what some people do on TV. They have plants in the audience. They already looked up plenty of their Facebook, so they have their names memorized. They take 5 people in their audience. I'm just giving you an example. Take 5 people, look at their social media, and they know a lot about everybody. There's so many people that just want to tell everything about their social media. So I know in my front row, oh, third row, this person sitting over here, this is her name. I've already looked her up. I already know half her stuff, and I know, unfortunately, she's lost a grandchild. How easy is it for me to go ahead and exploit that? And it's unfortunate, but it does happen. Sorry. Spoiler alert, I should have said first, I guess. However, there are these people that are just absolutely freaking amazing, and you have a couple of people on here. So for those of you that have abilities, in all sincerity, please put it up there if you would. Can you just respond? Tim's question was, so for those that are gifted, is it more of a curse or a gift? Can you say either way for you guys, beginning and now? Let's go that. In the beginning, did you feel it was a gift or a curse, and now what do you feel about it?
Just add on that, Chris put on there with us, all 4 of us have it. Before me, nobody in the direct family has admitted to having abilities. I believe my grandma and her mother have it, but wouldn't admit to or entertain the idea.
And again, it really depends on where your upbringing is from too, because if you're in the Bible Belt, oh no, that's absolute bad. That's bad juju. You can't talk about it. You can't say that you have any abilities, because that's all the devil's work. I'm the opposite. I damn sure don't believe it's the devil's work. I believe that people are given the gift from God. It's just my belief. You believe what you want to believe. I believe it's a gift given to you to be able to. I've watched people that are truly gifted in how they help other people. It's amazing.
I've witnessed it, and when you got somebody that walks by and then pauses and stops and comes back and says, "Can she really do that?" Like, I mean, that changed that girl's life. Like, it legit hit home. And I think she had a lot of comfort out of that. So
absolutely,
to me, that would have been a blessing.
Well,
so,
the mother in that case still, in the particular case you're talking about, the mother still had not even taken the reality and was willing to accept the reality she lost her daughter. Instead, her other daughter was there, and she said she just lost her sister. That tells me she was not even at that point willing. Hold on, go back up just a little bit, right there. She wasn't willing to go ahead and realize or admit that her daughter had passed. So they just wanted to get out of the house. They just happened to come to where Janie was at.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but the chance after the chance after chance, and then, hey, stick around, you watch. When she's done with that person, I'm going to have you sit down. Janie was doing paid readings. At this point, it's not a paid reading. We don't care, because there's some reason that woman was put in our path. There was some reason Janie was there, because she doesn't do readings at every location we go to. That was the first year. The woman had lost her child within the past week. She comes up. They decide to get out of the house because they've been staying at the house. They come up there. Well, got Janie, which that's the first time she's been up there at that location to do any readings. She happens to be there. Not busy enough that the woman could go ahead and take the time. And as soon as she was done, I sat her and her daughter down with Janie. And within a few minutes, she definitely hit dead on, knew exactly what was going on. Right. But it gave confirmation her daughter was on the other side, was okay. It started, not saying it gave her closure, but it started the process. I don't believe in the coincidence.
And you can see that.
Yes. So I think that's a big deal. Can the gifted read health issues and others? Absolutely. Sandy, I've watched Janie do it a number of times. I've watched some other people on here do it. I'm just not calling everybody out. People that are gifted can absolutely tell you, hey, look, I don't know what's going on in this particular part of your body, but I see this happens. Using, again, Janie as an example. She's talking about somebody that's passed. I see a man that's passed, and this is just what I've witnessed to her doing. She'll be like, I see a man that's passed, but there was something was definitely with his chest. There was something, and whether she gets set which I've seen her say it before, and I've seen others would sit there and turn around and say it, but she's saying there was a problem with his chest, and other times she'll say it was a respiratory, whether it was something with his lungs, lung cancer, problem with the chest, heart attack. they've come out each time, and yet she's told people, even while we're live, hey, go get checked out. I'm not trying to alarm you, but go get checked out. There's something going on up here. It's whatever information is given from the other side. Shanna, thanks for being on.
Sin City says, remember on TV, they are there to be actors first. They want to bring an audience to take it with a grain of salt.
Look, I'm not saying the people on TV are bad. I'm not. I mean, I don't like the idea if they're charging ungodly amounts of money. Even actors that do the paranormal in the field and everything, I'm not saying they're all bad either. It's unfortunately their contract is with the producers, and they don't have the rights to everything. Things can even be changed.
Tim has, I don't have any abilities, but I do get strange smells in random places. Let's talk about the phantom smells.
Phantom smells. Phantom smells, that's another, it's very overlooked from a lot of people. When you get somebody on the other side that's passed away, or we go to a location, Civil War, oh my gosh, you could get that sweaty urine, oh, whoo, you know. But what was going on back then?
Like my experience, I had a Gettysburg.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And I thought it was actually a reenactor. I was like, man, you take this way too seriously. Like, I give you props wearing wool in the middle of a hot summer day, whatever. But I mean, he smelled like urine, body odor, smoke. I mean, it was horrible. Horrible. But you think about it, what did they do back then? Like, that's probably what they would have smelled like. I'm not,
when you go, honestly, you go 3 to 5 to a week longer, you're marching 20 miles in a day or farther. Could you imagine? Tell your teens, because half the ones that died were basically just older teenagers, between 14 and 19, 20 years old. That was a lot of people that were marching. Go tell your teenager to go march 20 miles in a day. Ain't gonna happen. But between the sweat, they get into where they were fighting. Sorry, eventually you can be scared, or by laying there for hours, you are eventually going to urinate. I mean, it's going to happen.
Right.
So and body odor, man, you smell funky. Yeah. So when they did the crossings of the rivers and stuff, they were tired as hell, but at the same time they were happy because
they get some water at least. Try to clean up. Yeah,
a little bit.
Chris said, gift for us from beginning to end. Not a curse. She thinks it's been a gift.
Thank you. Thanks for putting, and that's Jerry. What we're looking for. We want to know, what was your feelings. Jerry's another individual. He turns around. His gifts have opened up, and he's got some in his own house that he deals with constantly and associates with, which is great.
Philip, exhausting until you get control of it.
Excellent. Thank you, guys. We appreciate the feedback.
And Colette, gift. Can't forget Colette.
Some are just responding to each other. What did Greth have? I'm not so good at English, but I think I feel my mom and friend. That's perfectly fine. And again, you have to, know what you're used to. It's flexible in the UK. Nobody judges you. We are more open and have been for years. That's wonderful. Nice. And it really depends on where you're at. Here in the United States, if you go in the Bible Belt area, you'll be ostracized. You will be cast aside. They will consider you to be the spawn of Satan. If you talk about, hey, you have abilities.
Tiffany says,
Sam, correct me if I'm wrong on that. You're one that I can talk to about that part.
Tiffany said at first it was a curse because I thought I was absolutely nuts. The looks, the comments I got, it was pushed away, that I didn't know what I was seeing, hearing, etc. Now it's definitely a gift. Told husband to watch a car that was going to hit us.
Later down the road, one almost hit us.
Yeah. So I mean,
but when you have a lot of abilities, what happens? Shay, curse at first. When you have abilities and those on the other side know that, again, using Shay, I'm going to use Shay as a particular, see if you can attest to this. That person is going to keep, that spirit is going to keep coming to you until you pass along the information or you do what they're looking for you to do. Typically, it doesn't have to be, if I'm gifted and they come to me and I'm around Freddie, Janie's really good about this point. She goes, look, if I tell you something and it doesn't make sense to you, write it down, because it's going to be for somebody in your circle. You might just be the messenger. They know they're not going to get the person on the other side of Freddie, but Freddie's going to be talking to that person and say, hey, I got this, and all of a sudden, guess what? That connects to them, and that's their message. For the most part, she gets an awful lot of details about the individual. But if they need to, they can go through one person to the other. So Janie can either keep, every time she opens up, she can keep having the same one coming through, the same person, or she can give the message to. So when she's going, like you guys, hang on just a second to Sam's comment, when you guys, if you go to the grocery store, and of course we just see the people that are standing there for the most part, yet this other person who has gifts keeps seeing this one saying, tell them now, tell them now, tell them now, tell them now. Eventually you're just going to have to walk up and go, hey, I know this is going to sound crazy, I'm just got to give you this message, you know, but she said she's perfectly okay, it did not hurt her, I don't know what that means to you, and I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Because the person having to go out and just walk up to a stranger and just unleash this information on them knows there's going to be an effect, but they don't want to have an effect coming back at them.
Well, and at first, the people are like, what?
Right.
What, what are they talking about? And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, hey, do you have anything else that, what, so,
it goes both ways. Yep. Some people are defensive and don't want to even be part of it, and yet it's dead. It's hitting dead on. You can watch them when they get to the parking lot and they're crying their eyes out. You know it hit. But they want to act like, oh no, I don't know what you're talking about. Leave me alone.
But once they get in the car,
they just
comes out. Yeah,
we've seen it.
Sam, you want?
Yeah, Sam says I'm in the Bible Belt. They look at you like a dog does when they don't understand you. Kind of that. Bonnie's on. Oh, she was replying. Just trying to catch up on the comments real quick.
Sorry if I missed you guys' comment. I'm just trying to scroll through some here. So, excellent questions.
So, with this, anybody that's been around understands one of the big parts that I am most concerned about is children with abilities. Now that children are being allowed, not having that extra filter put on, not everybody telling them it's their imagination, now they have gifts. So we need to make sure we pay attention to those gifts and don't just blow them away, but take the time. Even though you're the parent, you might not understand. You might be thinking, okay, you've blocked yours and you might not have them, but your son or daughter does. Don't necessarily block them. Don't act like it's not anything bad, but let them at least voice to you. Let them try not to put a wall between you and your child. That is, and again, I'm just putting it out there. You do what you want to do, but I think that's your biggest mistake you can make.
And I know Chris and Cassidy, I wouldn't mind meeting Cassidy sometimes. So.
Well, we plan to. I hit Chris and was telling her, as far as while we were live, look, I want to do a live investigation. I would love for her daughter to come. I want to do an investigation with children. It's one of the next investigations we're going to do before too long, and that's funny, but it's not. I don't think it's the same one that Janie's talking about. We haven't talked to her. You and I had talked about getting a couple people. Holly.
Yeah, Holly.
Lacey.
Lacey, yeah.
And ideally, if Christy's daughter wants to come out and, have them come out with us, we'd like to do a location and, because some of them are gifted.
And I just want to watch. I just want to see this. That's what, gets me, like, hyped up, because I just want to see what, what they pick up and what they get, so.
I was just reading Philip's comment. In the South, with the United States, it really depends on where you go, who can talk about what. And that's really a hard thing. If I know a person, she was Mormon and she was dealing with one of the worst cases I've seen, where does she turn to? And that's the problem. And that's why, especially in group conversations, I really get irritated because some people mean well, but there's so many people that want, Scott attests to this, there's so many people that are so quick to want to shoot you down. I'm the opposite. I have people that will talk to me afterwards, one-on-one, and they'll say, hey, you have a few people on there who really don't have gifts. I don't care. Because if there's one person that can come out of their box and not hold everything in and be allowed to express or be allowed to go ahead and say, I think I'm picking up on this, and they're not trying to get anything for it. They're not looking for money or anything. Do people do it for attention? Absolutely. Don't care. Wonderful. I'll give them attention. I don't care. But if it's that one person that it starts to explain things to, if that one person truly understands, oh, I got to watch my temper because I'm so empathic and I'm writing this emotion, that's success. I love the viewers. Don't get me wrong, man. I love you guys. I really do. I enjoy having you guys with us. But when it comes to helping somebody, I can be working with a client And at that point, you're not in my life. That client's life is what my focus is on, and it's not to offend you by saying this. I don't care what you think of what I'm saying to this person. If this person is getting better and I'm making their life better, I don't care.
Until you witness it, until you see it in person. I mean, it's quite amazing. I mean, it is.
And that's the way
And
it
that's
is for me with abilities. When you,
right.
if you disagree that people can have abilities, stick to that. But don't limit yourself to a point that you won't talk to somebody.
Right.
Tom, is Tom McCart on right now? Tom,
Yeah,
if you're on, say hey.
And real quick, Scott said there will always be skeptics, and
Yeah.
I've always welcomed them with open arms until you have an experience. That's why I am involved in this field. Very good point.
Excellent point.
I went to Sachs Bridge not so long ago, and just doing some things with flashlights and whatever else not. And there was a group of people kind of came up to the edge of the bridge and kind of like, just like, I said, come on over, and they gathered around and we just sat there and they were truly amazed by some of the stuff. And I explained to them the flashlights and I explained to them this and the spirit box and stuff. And they're like, wow. A couple of them got freaked out and ran because, the flashlight would answer questions and stuff.
Right.
And they're like, there's no way. And yeah, so I mean, but yeah, everybody has to learn from somewhere.
Absolutely.
Take the time and help them out, even if it's constructive criticism. I mean,
don't blast.
Right.
Constructive. Don't
exactly.
I hate constructive criticism. I'm my worst critic, and I hate myself for it. If you want to guide somebody, give them something positive. Hold that right there for a second, because I want to hit Terry real quick. Terry, thanks for being on. Try to give them something positive and just say, look, I'm just saying, if I'm talking to somebody who is doing a live stream, and I'll be like, I enjoyed your live stream, but the only thing is, man, I'm one of those people that you spin back and forth, and I'm just like ready to, give my lunch up. If you could slow down a little bit, I'm telling you, I guarantee you there's other people like myself. But I really liked your questions. You're not going to take that as offensive as, oh, God, I can't watch your live streams, man. You move so damn fast, I'm just like going to hurl, That's two different approaches. You can approach it and say, be positive about it.
Next time, try this. Or
I just suggest.
Yeah.
Anything we're giving you right now is a suggestion. I want to throw that up there real quick. Terry saying, she doesn't give unsolicited messages, only if asked. I get that. I definitely get that. Some people are, when the energies keep coming to you, you're going to learn that you're going to be bombarded by it for forever until you go ahead and give that message. And that's for some people. Some people might not have to deal with that. Excuse me. So I don't want to. It's not an all or nothing kind of thing. It's just what people actually go through.
Jerry.
Jerry's gonna be fun. We're gonna have Jerry. Look, Jerry's on the opposite side. I've only had one conversation live with Jerry in person. Actually, I bought that from Jerry, and it was supposed to be just a simple swap where I was going up, I was going to buy it from, meet him at a place locally, and go from there. And we must have talked for like an hour and a half. It was a great talk, so I like that. Tom McCart. Tom, if you get a chance, I know I don't have you on here live. What was your thoughts? In all sincerity, I honestly want your honest opinion. I'm just throwing Tom on the spot. He's with Grounded Paranormal. What was your original thoughts before you met Janie about anybody with abilities? In all sincerity, can you give me just a quick line or two about that? I'd really appreciate it if you would. Or I'll throw you in the bus and say it myself. I don't care.
Well, real quick about that, I'll tell you, whenever I met Janie.
Oh, well, there was no question about that.
When I first met Janie, yes, I was testing her, thinking to myself, I'll test her, because I never ever had the chance to meet somebody who can actually do what they say that they can do. And met Janie, and first thing she said to me, it wasn't even like, hey, hi, how are you? She just looked at me and says, I don't like you. You're testing me. And I'm like, what? Like, well, yeah, all right, but yeah. But I've seen it, and there's no more questioning. I mean,
I love the way that went over, because
right.
At first you kind of gave the what, like, I don't know
yeah.
what you're talking about,
right.
Right. And you turn around, you look at me, and goes, Rob, she's right. That's exactly what.
Right.
And then she went ahead, talked a little bit more, but.
And then there was some after that she was like, I'm telling you, I'm the real deal, and this is what's going on. We even went to locations where we met at Sheets parking lot.
Yep.
And I didn't even tell you anything. Nothing
Right.
at all. Nothing. We drove there, and let me tell you what, Jeannie got hit by a car because she got out and went right across the road. Didn't even look, just went right across the road to a spot where a man tragically died from a car accident.
She gets these pulls, and matter of fact, I got Philip on right now, so he's another person. He's definitely a person who I have a lot of respect for, that has a lot of abilities. Philip, do you get these pulls that it just you feel the need? You got to go to that where you're being drawn to. Hey, Michelle, thanks for being on. Um, I can see her smiles right now. I love her smiles. Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate that very much. Philip, some people that are, or anybody else, Jerry, you've got abilities. Shay, same thing. Do you ever feel that physical need to move to that location? Terry, if you could tell me, I'd love to know. My biggest point is I always want to turn around. I just keep learning about anybody with abilities. People go, well, how can Rob have any clue what the hell he's talking about because he doesn't have abilities? Because again, you can learn if you shut up and listen and watch. That's a big, big deal. That's a big deal. You learn what not to do, what to do. You learn what's real, what's not real. Janie is awesome. She was on point with the German Shepherd and we lost.
Yeah.
She absolutely, well, Tom in particular. Tom, he did not put any weight, and he's like, I think most of them are. Am I right or not, Tom? At first, you definitely didn't. You thought a lot of it was hokey pokey. You definitely didn't believe that. A lot of people were just
Quick shout out.
sham artists.
Quick shout out to the Haunted Trails of Gettysburg.
Haunted Trails.
Terry and Amanda, if that's you.
Who do we have on? Both or one?
Thanks again for last Tuesday letting me come up here and
that was cool.
Investigate for about that hour, and that was it. So, but that was good.
That was awesome that you got a chance to go up there.
Thanks again.
The neat part with Janie's abilities and her, let's say her spirit guides have a very awesome sense of humor. The ones I have been around and watched where somebody is absolutely a skeptic, I love skeptics. I have no problem with you being a skeptic, and anybody that knows me for any time understands as an investigator, you have to remain some of your personality and your traits have to remain skeptic because you can't just take anybody's word for anything. Doesn't matter. You have to be willing to go ahead and try to find the reason why it moved. You have a glass at a bar. You'll see it happen. You'll see a glass at a bar, and all of a sudden you'll catch a video of that glass sliding down. Now stop. To most people, they go, oh my gosh, look at this. Well, stop. Was it a frosted glass? What's the temperature inside? If a bar is just slightly off grade, and you have the frost, and that frost gets condensation, that water will allow it to move. You have to look at things more thoroughly than what you first see. If it's just that quick little video clip and you see that move, it's not enough. Slow down.
It's Terry for Haunted Trails.
All right, great. So. Thanks, Terry. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Sam.
I will be definitely getting back up there soon. Trust me. I do want to in the very near future. Again, I do want to take and do a youth live investigation. I don't care. That's one of mine. That's on my goal for the very upcoming.
And we're going to do it.
I just think it would be really interesting. And when we do, I would love. Yes, Chris, same thing. Not everything is paranormal. That's the biggest point I want to make sure everybody understands. And just because somebody gets, I hate to put it this way, Janie knows exactly because I always tell Janie, you just got lucky with it. You don't know what you're talking about. You just got lucky. Eventually, that luck runs out. There's no way somebody can be so on point so many times. But can somebody from time to time just happen to get a lucky guess? I feel there's a male spirit around you. Big deal. That's kind of goes. You want more details is what I'm talking about. Thanks for sharing. Everybody has shared. Thank you so much for sharing it. We honestly do appreciate
hopefully one day we will be over there. So he said, Rob, Freddie, we definitely.
We really want to do a UK trip. Right. That would be for us. That would be fantastic. I mean, there's so many places we want to go, but I think we're going to make it happen. Maybe the UK will probably be next year. I don't know if we'll be. This year's winding through and everything, but I think with the way things are going this year, that there's a good possibility. As long as we don't deal with the virus anymore and they open everything back up, I think we can target the UK for this upcoming year, honestly. I think Freddie and I and hopefully Janie, Sean, and we'll see who else is with us, will be going out.
Scott Wise said he's always in debunk mode.
Love it.
Yeah.
Perfect. And again, here's somebody, regardless, and I guess that's what I have a lot more appreciation for. If you talk to somebody who is gifted, most of the time, of course, they're using their bodies and everything, and they know the paranormal is real. But yet at the same time, they know everything is not paranormal. Linda, hey, I want to give you a quick shout out. They know everything is not real. So I like people that, regardless, I don't like people that automatically assume that everything's going on location. And I guess the biggest thing I want to put out there, or one of my most significant points I want to put out there is, I don't care how talented or how much ability you supposedly have, and I say supposedly, not knocking anybody, I'm just giving you from A to B from all the different people I know. I think it's absolutely wrong to ever assume or expect that you have to be able to pick up something from this item, from this picture, or from this location. I think it's absolutely ridiculous, because if anybody truly knows, there are powers out there that can block anything and anyone. There's powers out there, energies that can block you from being able to see what's about to happen, and you don't see it coming, and all of a sudden something smacks you in the chest. Right, Philip? Did you see that coming? Um, Things happen, but I think it's absolutely ridiculous to go ahead and put the notion that somebody, I touched her nerves, um, that somebody has to go ahead and be able to give an answer to somebody. Go back to Janie for a second. She's giving a read, and the woman says, well, but she didn't answer this question. She didn't answer this particular question. So I don't get the information. I'm not going to sit there and just give you an answer that you want to hear. That's not the way it works. It's what the information details I get is what I'm going to give to you. I just think the expectations have to be realistic, not to sit there and say that I think that, and Janie will be the first one that will absolutely say the same thing. I do not tell her there's any expectations. If you get something great, tell me. If you don't, don't. Do not ever make up anything. I don't need you making up anything as a psychic, as a medium, as anybody with abilities. That will kick you out of my court faster than anything else. Tell me what you get. If you don't get anything, say, I ain't got nothing. Good.
I mean,
I damn sure ain't got nothing.
Right. There's things that I can't hear, or my hearing's like really bad, like horrible, But I'm not gonna sit there and tell you something that I didn't hear that you want to hear. That's not who I am. So
it's just like an investigation. When we turn around, we're in an investigation, and I'll go, and I'm saying, did you hear? Because I want to see if they didn't point to which way I'm pointing, or you see both of us at the same time point to a direction. That's telling you as a viewer, we just heard that because it's live. Whereas if I'm going, did you just hear that? And he goes, no, or he points to a direction, that's what I'm looking for. Did he hear it come the same way I did? Because then I know you're just, whether or not you possibly are just grasping.
Follow along, yes.
And I don't want you to follow. I want you to tell me what's real. Somebody had something. Just can you go up just a little bit? I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm trying not to miss. All right, what did Jeff have? We did the upstairs empty bedroom, has a high EMF field that comes and goes. I traced it to the downstairs kitchen ceiling lights, and as if they were turned on and off, the EMF matches upstairs. So you debunk beyond the room. Beautiful, right. Beautiful, Jeff. Absolutely. You can't go to what's just in the room. You got to go on the other side of the wall, the other side of the floor, the other side of the ceiling. You've got to go farther. For people that are highly affected by EMFs, if you have that mist outside, and I mean, when you look outside and you just see the mist, and you have power lines going over, if you are very, very sensitive, highly sensitive EMFs, Freddie will sit there. If he stands under that, he'll start to wobble, and it's not on purpose.
I wobble now
without even walking.
Right.
He will definitely go ahead and start to wobble back and forth because he's being affected by that high EMF field. It happens to people. Sandy says, doctor's been on debunk mode. Can't tell if there's something wrong with me or if I'm just having horrible anxiety.
Sandy, I think it's anxiety. Sandy. Everything will be all right. So she having a procedure coming up. So
anxiety is a big deal, especially right now. Let's be real.
Right.
Look at our world is in a swirl. Okay, so that's why you got to break out of it, and that's why you need to go ahead and also be able to diffuse. For those of you that are empaths, especially, and when I say empath, doesn't mean that you're not a medium, a psychic, a sensitive, whatever. but you'll always be an empath as well. That's just part of what you are now. But anybody that has abilities, especially those that are stuck in the empathic area, not really into the further stage, but you're kind of stuck there on that high roller coaster, you guys are really feeling it right now.
Yeah. Like Philip said with Sandy, I'm having anxiety because of all the stress of what's going on lately. So, yeah,
you guys are absorbing it, and if you don't do something to let it back down, go to the beach if it's ever opened. Go to the beach, man. Stick your feet in the sand. Just chill. Who has never got good sleep after spending the day on the beach? Honestly. Honestly. That is natural grounding. That is the perfect way to ground. And right now, of all times, if you can get to
do it.
Do it. I'm telling you, I get where people have anxiety, and I'm not knocking. If you're on medication, again, I'm not a doctor, but if you have any clue of the number of people that have reduced their medication, have found life again without being so anxious, it's awesome to see. It's so awesome to see when people, it doesn't, it's not a one cure for everybody, but damn the number of people it has helped dramatically. It makes a difference. I'm used to in alone. She's responding by.
Janie says,
"Gotta go, but call me."
Love you, Janie.
Thank you, Janie. Appreciate it. Turning it on and off is a huge. That is very, very huge. Is learning how to turn it on. And most people that have gifts, some people can learn it in a day or two, and some people will never learn how to turn it on and off. There's a big difference to that.
Since this is going on good, we're over an hour, but
you want to go? Let's go. Let's go. So. Let's go for a little bit longer. By all means, I love it.
We've been
having trouble meditating, not sleeping more than 2 hours at a time. Not fun. Look, the human body does not function, as Philip can attest to. You don't function properly when you don't have sleep. So it's very, very. Drink a beer, Budweiser.
Linda says I work in the yard barefoot. So
you got to put your feet. You got to get your feet on Mother Earth. You've got to ground in. Natural grounding is awesome. Can't keep shoes on my kids. They constantly. Okay, Chris, but who sleeps better in your house, you or your kids? Here's a quick one. So, Chris, if you could answer me that, who sleeps better in your house, Chris, you or your kids? Out of curiosity, in all sincerity, I'm being very serious.
Yeah, Sandy, we'll be on at 2:00 on the Paranormal Warehouse. So.
Thank you. I know we're going a little bit extra, but we're having some fun right now.
Right.
Ouch. Candace, ouch. Look, you guys are absorbing. You're absorbing. You got all this energy coming in, and it's all coming in, and it's not going anywhere. Your mind's a freaking train wreck. You got trains going everywhere, cars going everywhere. You got all this stuff going on in your head right now. The point is you have to learn how to diffuse it. That's what you're missing right now.
Christy said, "Oh, they don't sleep."
Oh my God, our kids grew up with that. That was amazing.
Oh,
I was so glad when they grew out of it. Oh, ours were on medication for it, and if they didn't, the youngest was the terror. He had some older brothers, and he would terrorize. All three of them would jump on top of him at one point, and yeah, he'd come loose up from under him. He was like little Superman. That was crazy. You really need to learn how to let it go, though. And I'm telling you, if you're not one to put your feet on the ground, you need to learn how to put your feet on the ground. If you're not one to play with water, go to the lake, go to a stream, for God's sakes. Go to a stream, sit on the side of the stream, find yourself a decent rock, grab your book, put your feet in the water, and sit and chill. Just try it for 20 minutes.
And just listen.
Just try it.
Listen to the water.
Put your cell phone away. The hell with the cell phone. Put the cell phone and all the gadgets away and stuff. Yeah. Either sit and just chill, read a book, just stop. Stop and let it go. I'm telling you, that night you're going to get some fantastic sleep. You might not get 6 or 8 hours. Unfortunately, Philip's down to less than 2. If you get 4, it's worth it. It's worth learning how to let things go. You got to defuse, people.
I'm running on 2 hours sleep a day, roughly.
The wheel's still turning and the mouse is dead. It just keeps going floppity flop.
He says, or get some crystals and take them with you.
Crystals work well, but you've got so much coming in. I'm telling you, you got to discharge. You got to let it go. If that's not good enough, come hang out with me. If you're not an alcoholic, I'll make sure I have plenty of crack, and trust me, you'll feel like one for the night. But you will sleep.
You will sleep.
Candace uses rose quartz under her pillow. That's cool. I'm not knocking crystals by far. I am the last one that's going to go ahead and knock those. I do have used them. I give them to people when they're in times of needs. By all means, I definitely believe in them. But I'm telling you, you and Mother Earth, you got to learn to have a connection. You got to learn to let things go. Whether you're Philip, whether you're Chris T, I don't care who it is. You guys have got to be able to get your rest. And the more that you can do it, obviously without medications, without, things that will help knock you out, the better. Why not? It's a positive.
I don't know. If you take some Relief PM, that helps a lot.
I believe you. I believe you. Whatever works for you, brother. I'm good with that.
Oh my! Like my work schedule, so like.
Santa's got her attention. You ready to come over, hang out? we'll have a fun weekend. It'll be fun.
Cassie just dug up a ton of quartz from her yard. We have a darn vein here.
Hey, follow the quartz because you know what goes with quartz, right? You know that like little tiny heavy gold stuff. Let me know if you run into it. I'll help you dig it.
We'll help you dig it up.
Be a little more work than the one investigation, but hey, it'd be cool. Got to ground yourself. I really believe in the grounding part. I really do. And different people are different ways. I don't want to overlook, seriously, if you know of anybody, and it's one other little topic, and it has to do with children usually because we meet them when they're autistic, but the age. Autistic children, watch if you have family members or you have an autistic child, you will find out also when we come to gifts, they are much more open than most people. They are definitely, they're susceptible, but they're extremely open too at the same time. Their minds are definitely much more open, much more vast than ours are. We're very narrow-minded and whatnot, so don't overlook them when they need something. That's always a concern of mine as well. You good?
Good.
Guys, we're going to get ready to wrap up. We are going to probably talk about this topic some more on the 2 o'clock show. I think we'll talk about abilities some more. If you guys have something you want to talk about, throw it over there to us. We definitely we'll figure out another couple topics. These are casual. We put them together honestly 5-10 minutes before we start, and we just go in that direction.
If you got something for us, put it up there. We'll try to answer it.
Absolutely, gladly. Again, have questions even after this, feel free to go ahead and message us on our page. We'd love to go ahead and answer your questions. I hope to see you at 2 o'clock. If you get a chance, join us at 2. We will be back on at 2 o'clock, and we'll be on Paranormal Warehouse.
At 2.
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
We'll share it back to this page, so hope to see you guys. Love and light to everybody. We're going to go ahead and jump off here. Have a great weekend. If we don't talk to you anymore, have a great weekend.
See you guys.
Thanks.